All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the weekly broadcast from Uprint. Matt Ham here. This is Kevin Adams as well. We're here with you every week. Uprint is a faith and personal development organization, really helping people bridge the gap between Sundays. And our broadcast has always been about the upside of upside down living. Kevo, happy day, my man.
Hey, man. Nice. You got a little gel in your hair, man. It looks good.
I did. It's getting so long. I hadn't cut in a while. I had to comb it over, get it nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, very good, man. We need you to present a good package for us.
I try my best. Well, guys, we so appreciate you guys tuning in. Kevin and I are going to be talking today about hope, and the topic and the title of today's broadcast is Get Your Hopes Up. I feel like this is such a needed message in this season, and I really hope that you guys will take some time and press into this and let the Lord speak and share it out as you feel led. Comment below. Let us know where you're tuning in from, all that good stuff. Our corporate partners make this show possible. We want to recognize and thank them, one of them being the Rising Tide Real Estate Team. It's a full-service real estate team here in southeastern North Carolina, representing both buyers and sellers. Gene, Sherry Engel, Matt Steiner, and the team there, Angie as well. You can reach out to them, 910-620-7177. Also, our good friend Melissa Thomas, known as Melissa the Coach online. Melissa has been doing a lot of really cool live streaming broadcasts during this season, helping people understand minimalism and how to set goals and remove distractions from your life so you can step into those goals. You can reach out to her, melissathecoach.com or melissathecoach@gmail.com. And lastly, the folks at Chris Hutchins and his team at Guaranteed Rate Mortgage, more than 20 years in the mortgage business. If you have any questions regarding refinancing, anything you need, give Chris and his team a call, 910-344-0304. So, Kev, today, get your hopes up. Let's go ahead and rock and roll, man. Jump right into this.
Yeah. Well, look, I think, and we just did a series of small videos, kind of all saying, pointing to this direction and what that looks like. And, and I think we're going to probably, be sending out, maybe one a day or something like that. Or
yeah, we've got the first one scheduled to our community later today. So they're going out every day as a way to walk with folks.
Yeah. So that's just one thing. But anyway, but this is, we're going to really take some time and dig into this a little bit. I think the big thing right now that people need is encouragement. Mm-hmm. So, let's go back to, we always like to get around and under cliches and just mantras and things people say and really turn them over and bring some life into it. So what do we hear all the time? We hear it constantly. Don't get your hopes up.
Yes.
And, I'll give you a brief example from, we had a really close call here a few weeks ago with my new granddaughter. And she had some serious stuff going on with her, life and death kind of stuff. And it lasted for days. I mean, but she's doing so well. But rather than dig into this big story, just know that my son and his wife and my wife and her other grandmother were they were just there praying over her, just with joy and praise and hope and speaking life over that child. And, even in some of that worship and stuff, they had some people that were not friendly about it in the medical community. So that's one level of enemy sort of, negativity. The other is, the prognosis, here's the problem, and don't get your hopes up and this and that. And, they had to go to war over this child to keep those kind of things out. And, there's all kind of reasons why people say, don't get your hopes up, especially in the medical community. Liability, that's just their first approach. And I'm not saying, it's all bad. I'm just saying that, a lot of it isn't good and spiritually healthy, because God is not into that. He's into
Hope.
what he says.
Yes.
Exactly.
He's into
So,
hope.
so I talking a lot, but I'm just laying out an example of, we go from glory to glory, from hope to hope. Our responsibility isn't circumstantial. Our responsibility is to stand and
Yes.
to do it not just warlike, but to do it with great joy and love. So we're going to unseat these cliches and pour the power of God back into it. And then you can bring back in medical, and someone says something, you can go, okay, thanks for your opinion. And then you go right back and you restore hope. This is Jesus, in my view. And I think in our view, this is what we're trying to do. So when people say, and right now the world's saying it, right? Any news you read, whether it's political, let's get out of all that stuff. Let's get away from the medical world, the politics, the government, China, all that, and just say, guess what? What's God think about all this?
Yes.
And what I know what he is saying for sure. He's saying, be hopeful. Be hopeful. You should put your hope in him.
Amen.
So get your hopes up.
Yes.
Get them up. Your world doesn't reflect on the other things. It's not fastened together by money and all that. So,
we live beyond that. We live in a different kingdom. We live in a different economy. We live beyond the circumstantial five senses things we see. And right now, like you said, this is our moment as true-blooded, true blue believers to rest in faith and to get our hopes up, right? We talked a couple of weeks ago, Kevin, about hope deferred makes a heart sick. Listen, we got a lot of sick hearts. And sick hearts will kill you faster than, the coronavirus. And so we've got to get into the heart of ourselves and turn that thing around. And so it's one thing to say, get your hopes up. So let's talk about practicing getting your hopes up. Let's talk about some ways that folks can begin to shift. But before we do, I want to speak to your granddaughter situation as a testimony. Friends who are watching this, I witnessed everything along with Kevin and Holly on this thing from the beginning to the end. And this is nothing short of a miracle from God of breakthrough to bring forth his promise and provision to this family. And it was beautiful to see. And this little girl was told, like we said, don't get your hopes up. And now she's home and she's smiling and laughing. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so this is testimony of what God's done before, and he will do it again. And so that's where we're coming from. So Kevin, go ahead. No, I just had to get that out.
Well, I appreciate it. And that is born out of a long legacy of obstacles and standing up to them. And I have to be clear about this. Part of our journey has been learning to withstand and continue going and to help restore hope. So that's the point of it, right? This is why we go through things. God removes those vulnerabilities, compromises, and we stand because we don't walk by what we see.
Amen.
So count it all joy, right? When you see things that unseat this, we call them trials. God uses them, and he does great things with them. So remember, there's all kind of ways and ideas and a lot of things people are going to say, and negative and positive, but let's get to the depth of it. So hope deferred makes the heart sick, but guess what? God isn't the one deferring the hope.
That's right.
And that's, I think, the point that when we just glaze over or glance at or just take a nugget of scripture, we tend to blame God for no hope.
Yes.
And it's just the opposite.
It's not his problem, it's ours.
Yeah, that's right. And so when we say get your hopes up, what we're doing is we're saying, wait a second, you can choose this. And in the cleanse, we've got a whole, kind of lesson set up to talk about how to practice hope. You good on your mic there, man?
Yeah, sorry. Don't ignore me. My face. My brain's running around. So
this is hopeful excitement.
I am getting energetic over here.
but God's not the one that defers hope, and and I think it goes on to say basically a dream realized is a tree of life, or a desire realized, or something along those lines. So we want to focus on what God is doing and what he has done. And we always want to come back down to where that is. And because it's real easy to get these imaginations about this and that. And, it's just like pouring poison down your throat to engage this stuff. And it doesn't help anybody, and it spreads it, and it brings cancer, and I mean spiritual cancer. It brings gloom and despair, and do you want to pass that around, and do you want to drink that and engage that? I don't know anybody that would agree with that.
Yeah, well, it's people have been talking about fear with this pandemic situation breaking out, and fear is contagious, and that we're talking about the contagion of the virus and all this stuff. Well, hope is contagious too, and I think that we get to choose. Do we want to be a part of the good contagion, or do we want to be a part of the deficient contagion? And you said last week on the broadcast, Kev, that we get a choice in this moment to live by perception, which is what we see, or by perspective, which is beyond that of what God is saying. And right now, you and I stand on these grounds, man, that God is like echoing right from heaven. And he's saying, come on, like, get your hopes up, like return to me. Come on back, kiddos. And let's transform this earth with the way I created it to be. So I get fired up. You know that.
Yeah. And that's right. Well, that's one of your gifts too, is that exuberance. And it's encouraging just to see and feel it. But just like faith, we have to learn how to feel our way through this. We have to let God speak in a different way than we normally perceive information. And so this shakes everything up. Well, that's good, but it can't shake who God is in you and why he made you. So let's stay focused on that. And, I was talking to a super good brother and friend a little while ago, and he and his wife run an awesome business, and man, we just love them to death. And God's really helping these folks grow into their leadership role bigger. And I think, my encouragement to him was, you are way more than this business. This business is good, and God owns it, and it's okay. And he's not left you. And they're doing great. I mean, they're encouraging me, but my point is, you're more than your bank account. You're more than your business. You are more than anything. What you truly are is you're his, and that deserves hope. Even if you got to go back to the drink of water you just had, the chicken you ate for lunch, or the breath in your lungs. This is the fight. Be hopeful, be happy, find a memory, right?
We talk so often about parents and children, and about how we as parents want our children to learn deep lessons, and sometimes we allow them to go through painful situations. And I just see right now, it's like you said, God is allowing this because of love, to show his people, stop being defined by your income. Stop being defined by the work you do.
Right.
Stop being defined by where you go to church. Like, make this personal.
Amen.
Make this about me. Make this about who I've created you to be, and live from freedom instead of shackled by all this stuff. Like, you and I have both said it, and you said this is not shaking God, but it is absolutely shaking the institutions of the world. And I don't want to get off on a rabbit trail here, but we've talked about this before, the 7 Mountain thing from way back in the 70s. Bill Bright or whoever it was that came, initiated.
A couple different guys had it. Yeah.
But one of the things the Lord was kind of showing me the other day, I felt like he was saying is all of those mountains are being shaken, man. Mm-hmm. All of those mountains are being crumbling, and he gets to rebuild what he chooses to rebuild. And so
that's right.
He's about rebuilding the ruined cities, like Isaiah 61, and he's doing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got to a point where let's close this chapter and move into the next one, the next segment, however you want to do that.
Well, guys, we do this show as a weekly broadcast. We got a lot of folks tuning in on Facebook Live now. Just as a reiteration, Matt Ham, Kevin Adams, we've got an organization called UPrint, as well as a nonprofit, innovative charitable movement called the Life Center. We are about helping remove obstacles for people, walking with them between Sundays. It's about discipleship. It's about helping people discover who God's created them to be, and then giving them an environment to live this out. This is what we do every week. We've been doing it for years now. And have been doing it digitally for years now. And so, we're here, and this is a moment for us to step in. So we do have corporate partners that make this possible. These are folks that support what we're doing. We want to recognize them. One of those being
Yes.
Dr. Greg Veman, Seacoast Skin Surgery. Dr. Veman has an incredible ministry called Everlasting Strength. You can check him out on the web, everlastingstrength.org. If you need to give them a phone call, 910-256-2100. Also, our good friends at Century 21 Swalyer and Associates. This is the largest Century 21 agency in the Carolinas, incredibly successful, 30 years of experience here. Jeff and his team are phenomenal. 910-256-0021. And then our good brother and friend, as we call him, Sam Wise, Gam G, brother Chris Riley with Fountain Financial Associates, now known as Cap Trust Wilmington. They're in the long-term financial business right now, walking with their clients through this season as well. 910-256-8882. So Kev, recognizing our corporate partners, jumping back into today's topic. And I want to just say this to encourage those who are watching this live, leave a comment below. If you have any questions, we're looking at those, but we're talking today about hope and the opportunity that we have in this moment as believers, as brothers and sisters in the Lord, as children of God, to get our hopes up. So Kevin, let's keep going on that.
Yeah, well, part of this, maybe a starting point, is to recognize what's true. And, we said this, maybe it was a last week's show or what have you, but the facts and truth are not always, they don't always line up. I think they overlap, but the facts change. The truth never does. And, you can reflect on that show, that broadcast version to get more about that. But the truth is what we've got to always go back to. We've got to keep that as home base. And so, where do we find that? One of the best things is to remember, if you want to find some joy, look at the opportunities to engage joy, and that is what we would call practicing hope. So think about where you're going. Your life has purpose. The outcome's already attached, but it's kind of like a vehicle, and that's your roadmap. That's kind of faith. It's there. California's out there if you're heading that direction. But what do you have to do along the way in your car? You've got to stop and make deposits. You got to stop and get some gas. Mm-hmm. You have to do that regularly along the way. So a lot of people don't realize what the difference between faith and hope is, and they are different, but they work very close together, like bone and marrow or spirit and soul. So that said, we have to make daily deposits of hope. Well, what does that look like? One way is just to tell a joke. I mean, gosh, yeah, there's so much that we can laugh about, and it's so good for you.
Speaking of jokes, I had a funny dad joke the other day. All right, you ready for this one?
Hear it.
How does a fish take a bubble bath?
Who knows?
He farts.
That's perfect, man. I can see it. That's awesome.
My kids loved it. I'm sorry, I had to.
That's a great kid joke. But
yes.
Look, you can tickle your kids if they're little. My daughters are grown up, and my son, but we can make fun of some crazy guy on a motorcycle going by and laugh, and but the point is to engage hope, to spread hope, to be hopeful, and that requires a foundation of truth. So when you go back to what is true, I'm not talking about facts now. Again, facts says smoking in the 50s said, it's good for you. And obviously it never was. Facts and truth. Facts change, truth doesn't. So God is truth. His word, his written word is just absolute truth. And we have to have a foundation. So that's it. You don't have to agree, but listen to something else and we'll all get along just fine. But if you're here and you want this, take this. Now, here's an idea. It's not the valley. You know what I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
It's not the valley of death. People looking at this like it's a damn valley of death, and it's not.
Yes.
It's the valley of it's the valley of the shadow of death. So I ain't talking politics here or anything like that. I don't care about all that. I mean, yeah, at some point, but this is not real. And I'm not saying there aren't people with viruses. I'm saying, you got air in your lungs. You got a roof over your head. The government's doing the best it can. It's not perfect, and who cares? What can you do in the moment? Do you have food and water? Be thankful for that. I sound like I'm preaching. I'm saying this to myself.
Yeah, start where you can.
That's right, because the enemy wants to bring despair. And, it kind of starts with fear and panic. And I think a lot of people still feel that. But now it's kind of gotten into, man, they closed the beaches even.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like, some high-end white-collar idiot. It's just whatever your thing is, or the thing that brings you joy and rejuvenation, you get to a point where you feel isolated, you feel gloom, you get worn down and tired. So the point is it's a shadow. It's not real. And I hope anyone that's listening would understand what I'm saying. It's a valley of the shadow of death. The enemy wants to cast a shadow.
Yeah.
But he hasn't changed the valley.
Yes.
So our job isn't to fall down and weep in that valley. David, that's a positive psalm. David, it is, I think what he's urging us to do is to stand up and take it.
Yeah.
For Jesus. So you got to have some hope and some chutzpah. You got to have some heft to do that. That requires hope. So all I'm saying is it's a valley of the shadow of death.
Yes.
And God is with you, and the valley hasn't changed. Just go on and get up and go.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about before, Kevin, is that the shadow is simply just something's blocking the light.
Exactly.
And so in this situation, all you have is something simply blocking the light.
Yes.
But it doesn't remove the light, and it's like, it's like C.S. Lewis was talking when he wrote about like a guy in a jail cell somewhere, who might say there is no sun, and he might scribble it on his walls of his jail cell, but it doesn't make the fact that the sun's still there. Light's still there on the outside. So we have a moment right now to know that, the shadow, it doesn't change who we are. It doesn't change God's truth. It just gives us an opportunity to trust beyond what we can see.
Yeah, that's right. So you take that verse, read the 23rd Psalm, and it's a moment. It's the same kind of moment, right? It looks difficult. It's gloomy. It's despair. It's got some fear wrapped up in it, but none of it is real or true. It's not the truth. It may be the facts, but it's not the truth.
Yes.
And so, this isn't just pie in the sky. This is standing on your faith. I mean, what good is your faith if you don't act on it? If you can't use it, this is the time to use it, but do it joyfully. You don't have to survive. You have to stand up and bring joy and practice hope, but it's got to start with us. So take another verse that's very helpful. You take these two together, and I think this is, I know the verses, man, I don't always know the numbers, but I think I jotted it down, but I think it's Psalm 118, maybe 24, but
come
whatever.
on with it. I'll fact check it. Come on.
It's this is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be glad in it.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, pray that out.
Speak it aloud.
Feel that in your heart. He made this day. So when we're beating this day up and saying, man, they got this and I can't get that. And, some dude going around the world trying to get all the hand sanitizer. the president or this. And I mean, just golly, just shut up with all that stuff. And all right, now this is the day the Lord made. Let's
Amen.
rejoice and be glad in it. So you know what? What can we do? We're going to call somebody up. We're going to trade prayer requests, right? We're going to kiss on our family. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to tell jokes. We're going to laugh. We're going to eat oranges. Whatever that looks like, start there and hold on to that. The rest of this stuff, God, the Bible tells us to cast down these imaginations. You're living way out here on stuff.
Yeah.
And, I know I'm getting preachy. I certainly don't want to do that. Just be encouraged. I want to smile. The old thing, smile when you say that.
Yeah.
I used to have a shirt when I was a kid. It said, "Do unto others and run." And it showed a kid with a baseball bat. We're not doing that. We're not running. We're saying we're here with you.
Amen.
It's not easy.
It is challenging. We're not obtuse to the reality that, like you said,
right,
that fear and panic can produce despair. But what we have in this moment is a choice to choose how we get to navigate the moment. And it's funny. I was watching last night. I went back to watch The Lord of the Rings. I love those movies. I love and there's that moment when Gandalf is standing on the bridge and the big fiery demon guy is coming after, and you shall not pass. And like that's how we have to stand up every day. We got to stand up and look at despair and fear and the enemy, say, "You shall not pass here."
Yeah, you shall not pass.
I hear you, Gandalf.
It makes you laugh. You got to laugh.
Actually, your little earphones look like a white beard right now, like the outline of a white beard.
Yeah, that's me, man, Mr. Gandalf. I'll take it. But the point is you've got to take back your hope. The enemy absolutely wants to steal it.
Yeah.
He can't if you don't let him. And this is why the testimony and stuff's important. This is, and I'll speak for myself, but this is coming from a guy who has been through a tremendous amount of preparation and weathering. And I mean, it's crazy. Some people say, "Well, how did you go through all that?" Well, I could easily point to somebody else in way more difficult circumstances for a way longer and say, "I don't know how they did it," but I do know how they did it because God taught me that I can't rely on this world in any capacity. So now all my joy comes from him. It doesn't mean we don't have a bad day. It doesn't mean we don't get frustrated over our relationships. But it's spoken from a place of experience in all kinds of areas, including nearly losing family and, all kind of sickness and financial woes. And how do you smile in that? Because those things are not sitting on the throne of our heart, right? That I'm not pointing at me. I'm just saying that's the goal,
right?
So, but when you go and how do you love on other people with hope? Man, it bring joy into it, bring laughter, show them that this moment matters. It's okay. We went and got a pizza the other day. We trying to keep, ordering stuff and giving tips and doing what we can. But this little lady, man, she's so sweet. She's always meets us at this pizza place, always waits on us. And, but she couldn't come out. So we get this big pizza and we leave her a nice tip, et cetera. And, she comes to the window because I didn't go in, my wife went in, but she's like, "Hey, I'm like, hey, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while." You could just see joy on her face, and, it's just little stuff like that. And we have to go there. And I think we've been overlooking stuff like that. So faith is not, it's not just seeing things in God's perspective, but it's allowing yourself to go to a place where you feel dizzy. And then you come back with the joy, only the joy that comes from the Lord. And man, you can spend a lot of this time laughing and enjoying the precious things in your life.
So the fruit of the Spirit is joy, right? Love,
Hmm.
joy. When
Yeah.
we abide in the Spirit of God, we have a fruit that is born from our lives that is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. So, one of the things, a very practical thing I just want to say to folks who are watching this is that
Yeah.
if you are experiencing things that are the opposite of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control,
Right.
you are choosing and living, therefore, by something that God did not give you in the Spirit.
Right.
And so, what we have in the Spirit of God is the fruit of the Spirit, and every tree shall be known by its fruit. This is a moment where the fruit of our lives is being born on the branches of who we are. And so, if the fruit is fear and panic and harshness and all these different things, chances are it is showing that the roots of our life are ill planted and that our hearts need to be redeemed and restored. And so look at the fruit and you get to choose the fruit that's born. And so I just want to encourage folks that this is a spiritual moment to reveal the condition of our heart, and everything on the outside, the facade, is being broken down to really tap in and get to the heart. So that's really
Yeah.
just what the
Yeah.
Lord
That's
was
right.
kind of giving me in that seat in that moment.
Yeah. Well, agreed. And we want to be led by the fruit. We want to be led by His Spirit. And if you're not, then it's time to switch gears. And
Yeah.
so, amen to that. But you can know it by the weight of it. People make you feel a certain way. You love on them back, but you don't have to engage that. And so we'll come back. We're going to do another
Yeah.
good chunky segment here, and keep it light, but we'll do that here in just a moment.
Yeah. So, guys, thank y'all for those who are tuning in on Facebook Live, for those who are commenting, letting us know where you're watching from. Any questions are welcome, and then for sharing this out in your communities. Matt Ham, Kevin Adams were the co-founders of Uprint, also of the Life Center, innovative charitable movement here in Wilmington. We are all about helping people discover what God's placed inside them, helping develop that, and then live that out in the world. We've got some corporate partners that make this show possible. One of those being Freeman Landscaping. They're the largest privately owned landscaping irrigation firm in Eastern North Carolina. Since 1992, family owned and operated. 910-796-1166. Also, Physical Therapy Services of Wilmington, ptservicesofwilmington.com on the web. Russ and his team are fantastic, family owned and operated as well. 910-763-8286. And also the Honeycutt Group. This is a local insurance brokerage organization. Chad and his team are fantastic. Again, family owned and operated. 910-338-1773. A special thanks to anyone and everyone that is a corporate partner with us and who makes things like this possible. It is feeding folks. It is helping people have transportation and shelter, and it's making a tangible impact in the physical realm, but it's also making a spiritual impact as well. Kevin, we've seen so many folks, lives transformed, man, by just the power of God at work. And so it's just an honor to be able to walk with folks through this. So all that being said, today we're talking about hope, and we're coming underneath folks and giving them a jolt of kind of hopeful energy here. So let's keep going.
Yeah. So we talked about kind of getting back to the truth, and that's why spending time in the Word is important, because you see our heritage, and how they walk through it. You see the success stories. And so we need to use those things, and we need to prophesy hope and believe for
Yes.
victory. But that's not just a headspace where you just saying positive words. You have to feel this in your heart. Now you get to choose that. And that's this is completely a turning point. Your heart, and we're talking about kind of your core creative area. It's in your soul, but it's where your spirit. It's kind of the bridge between the world, the physical world, and the spiritual world. And your heart will always, because it's such a neat thing, creative vessel, it just follows and jumps on. So when I say, Matt, you're all heart, you can see Matt running like a racehorse. So I'm teasing you a little bit, but it's good to be all heart. You need wisdom underneath that, and God does that. but your heart always follows the loudest voice. So now if you've got negative Nelly over here who's doom and gloom and, kind of weaponized by this shadow that's lurking, or, you've got someone over here saying, this isn't fun. I'm a little worn out, but I got food. I'm going to come and really engage. If I got kids or family or even this, and we're opening up saying, hey, if you want to talk, we're here. Give us a shout. We're trying to do anything we can to help people stay encouraged and not fall to gloom and despair. Truth, get into the word a little bit, take it with you, spend time with people, anybody you're able to, if it's your family or just your neighbor, go do that. But the idea is getting intentional about getting your hopes up. You have a choice. It's not the enemy's choice. And if you get people like that make you feel heavy and you walk away feeling gloom, then you need to stay away from them possibly. I hate to say that.
Well, no, you said the heart follows the loudest voice. And here's kind of the echoing call that I have as kind of a question is, what voice is louder, right? Is it Fox News? Is it, what social media is saying? Is it the fear that is being perpetuated? Is it the despair? Or is it the voice of God? And that's where we truly have an opportunity in this moment to quiet everything by choice, to let the voice of God raise up and speak to our spirit and call us back to this intimate place. And it's just, we've been saying the word opportunity, Kevin, over and over and over and over. This is an opportunity. This is,
really is.
Here we are, and we get to re-engage our hearts with the Father in such an intimate way that we can actually live free from all the stuff that we've been living underneath the shackles of and didn't even realize it until it's all gone.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. It's think about the environment. When the environment presses in on you, what is going on? Well, the voices up here, the physical, God says, don't walk by that, right? He says sight, but that's meant for the five senses because, look, a guy that's a guy or gal that doesn't have physical vision still has to walk by faith.
Yes.
It's a physical place. We're meant to live in this place, but we're not of it. So we have to get that in right order. So you want your heart, which is the creative vessel, to follow the Spirit of God. But what happens is people either completely live out of this thing, logical, what I see, oh no, when you start saying, oh no, what happened? It gets right into your heart grabs on and it creates that. It brings it, it prophesies it. And God says, cast that stuff down, guard your heart. That's why he says it. It's not new age. It's not magic. It's just how God designed this to work. So what does it mean? You want to edify your spirit. You want to listen to it. God is speaking to you, but you can, if you're not hearing him too well, get in the word and it'll start opening your heart up. And what else does it do? It renews the mind. It brings peace. So if you're worried about something, God says, I got it. Trust me. And what does it do? It quiets this voice. So you getting everything in right order simply by spending a little bit of time in the word and really taking it in and then going and laughing, eating a good meal, loving on somebody. If that's what you can do, then go do it. That's Christianity just as much as, building a company. I mean, it's important for us to stay focused on what God is doing in the moment. And right now, he's got a couple things shut down, but it's a moment. Yeah. We could look at a lot of worse ones throughout history.
Well, what's funny is 2 months ago when we were all so busy, we were all going, oh man, I wish I had more time to spend with my family, or, oh man, I wish I had more time to work on that dream in my heart. I always wanted to learn how to, I always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, right? I always wanted to learn how to play the guitar and I don't have time and blah, blah, blah. Well, now we're going, oh, yes. I'm so bored. I really wish I was back. We're double-minded. We're
Yeah.
speaking out of both sides of our mouth. And so now is the opportunity
Yes.
for us to press in.
Well, that's right. And listen, complaint is the language of hell. And that's not saying the Psalms, that's saying wallowing in complaint. In other words, there's a difference between David saying, Lord, this hurts. This is hard. Show me more. Tell me how long, and do it. And I know you'll do it. That's okay, because we need to express these things. We don't need to go act like it doesn't exist. There's a virus out there. Okay. Yeah. All right. What do you want me to do about it? I'm going to wash my hands. I'm doing the right things. And then I'm going to take my mind off of it, because it isn't on the throne of my heart. So what can you do? And that's a great point. And I think one of our, we've got a bunch of little small nuggets, kind of a condensed version of this broadcast. But the idea is to take something every day and practice it. And one of those things, and you just touched on it, is learn something. We, instead of complaining about the grass being, brown, and I'd wish it was there, and then you're over here and, the grass is always greener. Stop letting that in your heart. What can you do? And learn something is, it's an opportunity. If you're too tired to learn something, then, find a YouTube video and learn it through osmosis. Be productive in that way. But the big thing is, do it from a place of thanksgiving, joy, and now you're depositing hope. You're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to be okay. But God is working through this. He is doing something, and we can trust that. Yeah. We have to let go of what we see, though, and navigate a different way.
Well, we're being kind of forced to navigate a different way, and it's kind of beautiful in a way, and that God loves us enough to challenge us to navigate by that different sense. So, Kevin, as we kind of wrap up today's show, man, I just want to let folks know that are tuning in or even catching this on replay. We have an incredible archive of resources both on our YouTube channel as well as our podcast. You can go to youprint.life, youprint.life. That's our site. You can schedule a discovery call there. You can check out our YouTube channel. You can get connected to our podcast. We also have an incredible digital kind of community called the Portable Faith Community, where we send out encouragement every single day. We're expanding that right now. We send out texts in the morning. We're sending out videos now. And then all of the resources that come through that we use through our nonprofit entity to turn around and go and bless people to be able to help remove obstacles in their life. And so there's this really cool thing that God's doing here. And, God's continuing to open up doors. And so we just want to invite people to be a part of it. We're here for you. Would love to walk with you in any way possible. All that being said, Kevin, man, do you have any final thoughts today as we kind of wrap up this idea of hope?
We've actually got a few minutes here.
Oh, we do? Okay. I don't want to cut us off short.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. And maybe that's a good way to, I'd say 3-4 minutes, but I think one of the things we're trying to do here is to give an example. We want to be people that set the example. So we have to be prepared for that. And, and I would just encourage people, and I would say, look, you guys are family. We don't have any people engaged in this that aren't hungry and growing, and that's kind of cool because they're for real. But God's moving us forward, and we got a lot of neat things. I know we say that a lot, but it's pretty incredible. And I spent several hours this morning just hashing over some really cool thoughts with an amazing lady, and God's just bringing some great people. So this is moving, although it may not, you may not be able to see it right now. It's like seeds planted, they're germinating. But all that said is what we're doing is it's meant to change everything generationally. It's meant to eradicate spiritual poverty as on one side, and then remove the spiritual or the physical obstacles, so that someone can walk through from where they are all the way to live out their dream and who they are. Take the journey, in other words, So we're going to get to a point where you click to take the journey, and we're going to walk with you in a variety of ways, leverage through technology, in person, whatever that looks like. And I'm very excited about that. I know you are too. And so, but anyway, we appreciate your support, and we're not clamoring, and God is our hope. He's everyone's hope. So I just want to encourage people that this is a moment where things that are built on sand begin to fall away, and things that are built on a rock are being fastened and firmed in place and refined. And we're standing on that rock. So let's get excited about it, and stand up and pray, keep the sickness away, and, stay joyful, hopeful.
We have a moment in time right now, friends, to begin practicing hope, and to be light bearers, and to be those who bring truth and joy and goodness into the world. And now is our time. Now is our opportunity. And if ever a moment in our lives before, we have it right now. The world, I believe so much, Kevin, and you do as well, I know, the world has looked for hope and joy and life and everything else, and it is found in one place. And we bear that image in by the blood of Jesus, and that's what we get to carry into the earth right now, and it's our moment.
So yes, and so if you that means everybody who is a believer, right? And so if you're feeling stressed, it's just a quick laundry list, just to remember this, and I'll leave it here from my end. But if you're feeling frustrated, tired, a little bit angry, a little bit gloomy, emotionally drained, and feeling like you want to isolate, all these are normal things, but they don't have to rule over you. So find other things that that help bring back your joy, and that gets to hope. So when you love on other people, when you smile, even tell yourself, look, I've had to do this a few times, because you get a gut punch, and it's real easy to go fall on your sword. And if you need sleep, then take a nap, right? It's a good time, like you said, that people complaining, and I certainly have too, and in moments. But remember, even if you just say this one thing to you, when you start letting something in your heart that doesn't belong there, that's weighty, that's not from God, fruits of the Spirit, follow that. But just one simple thing, remind yourself, hey, get your hopes up and smile and feel God's presence and feel the wonderful things He's done in your life. And if you can stay focused and practice that even a little bit, it'll really, really help reinforce the truth and get you away from the moment and the gloom.
Yeah. Well, guys, I so appreciate y'all tuning in. It's funny. We had somebody tune in here commenting he's got 5 kids with him stuck in his house, plenty of prayers. And I'm looking at him going, hey, brother, I know I got 5 as well. And I hear him outside playing basketball now. So I'm going to go join them and jump in this moment and spend some time with them. The other day, I actually, was playing hide and go seek with my kids, and I was up in a tree. I had the best hiding place in the world.
That's great. Well, look, and I know I keep talking, but just remember, God is about hope, and if you just put your heart and eyes on Him, He will carry you through this. He already has. There's a good outcome. You're already attached to it.
Yes.
And practice smiling from the inside out, and you will be active for Him. You'll change lives. But it's a moment. There's good on the way. Stay happy. Stay believing, and give us a shout. We're here. We're in this together. Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, guys, we do want y'all to know, if you want to connect, again, uprint.life. Many thanks to all who joined us on Facebook today. This has been awesome, Kevin. There's a lot of comments and stuff. I know Kevin gets on Facebook sporadically, but you can go on there and check it out as needed. We love you guys. We're here for you. God is, like Kevin said, he's doing a good thing. There are great days ahead of us. We get our hopes up. We focus on him, and he is bringing deliverance for his people. And we just going to shout that from the mountaintops and keep on moving. So, Kev, man, thanks for the time today. Anyone who wants to connect, again, uprint.life, you can schedule a discovery call. You can get connected, fill out, join the community, and get plugged in. Anything else, Kev, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I did want to mention, my wife's been on me about this a little bit, but look, if you want to get a copy of The Extravagant Fool, I'm not a book promoter, read it or not. That doesn't, but I really believe it'll encourage you.
Yeah.
And, at least for a limited amount, we can help you get a copy. If you can't, if you can't afford it, we'll get you one. But it is, it's just a moment in my journey. And I'm telling you, there's some tough days there, but it'll help put perspective, and it's very encouraging. So Extravagant Fool, or you can get it off Amazon and get a Kindle version. But my wife's told me a bunch of times, so I'm saying it out loud.
Absolutely.
I think it'll actually encourage you in a tough moment. And that's all I'm after here.
Well, anybody who's read it knows that it's an incredible testimony of what it looks to live by faith. And that is your testimony, man. And that's why you have the capacity to be able to speak from the experiences that you can. And so this is a moment, an opportunity for folks to dive in. We're here for you. We're here with you in this. And, just reach out if you need any help. So, Kev, man, this was great. I look forward to being back. We'll do one of these again soon. And, I'll hopefully see you sometime soon, brother, face to face.
Yeah. Amen. Hey, y'all watch for those little videos. We're going to be sending them out.
Absolutely. In the Portable Faith community, you get plugged in, wakeupmyfaith.com. We're sending out the videos. First one goes out, I think, at 4 p.m. this afternoon.
All right.
Send them out today. But listen, you guys be well. Peace. Thanks for tuning in.
Get your hopes up. All right.